Well, this is outstanding, and I was told to keep this under 30 minutes, so bear with me. Now, I was actually totally surprised to be nominated and even more surprised to be selected as one of the 2018 recipients of the Distinguished Alumni Award. And I consider this to be a great honor, and I want to thank everyone who is involved. When I was considering my remarks for this evening, my goal was to identify and summarize in a few minutes what had occurred over the past 56 years that led to my nomination and selection to receive this award, and to take some of these events and share them with the students in attendance here tonight to perhaps help them plot out a course to achieve personal and professional success. So I'm unfortunately going to start from the very beginning of this story and tell you that I was born on April 1st of 1962. And at the time, my family lived in an extremely modest three-room house, not three-bedroom house, off of Evergreen Road in Ross Township, behind the Beatty welding shop that sits off Babcock Boulevard. When I was born, my father was 25 and my mother was 24, and I was their third child. Another would follow 9 years later. My father, now 81 years of age, was a union sheet metal construction worker, and my mother, now 80, stayed at home. A few years later, we moved to the other side of Babcock Valley on a short dead-end road named Short Street, off of the old Longview Drive behind the Longview Gardens Tavern on Babcock Boulevard. We moved out of our three-room wooden house to a three-bedroom brick house built by my father, much to my relief as a child, as I had been repeatedly informed at story time that wooden structures were prone to catastrophic failure during unforeseen wind events, and that brick structures were in fact much safer. And this is where I grew up and lived until I went away to college, never to return. I read somewhere that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I was raised in a great village. Our bus stop next to the tavern on Babcock nearly filled up a bus. The mothers were all there with curlers in their hair, Maxwell House, Folgers, or Sanka coffees full of cream and sugar, and they were all armed with packs of Winstons. Times have certainly changed. And this was an amazing neighborhood with very down-to-earth people, and we all looked out for one another. Growing up, we all thought we were well off, and in the most important ways, we were. In 1967, I attended kindergarten at Northway Elementary. In 1974, I went to Ross Junior High School, and in 1976, I attended high school here, graduating in 1980 in a class of over 700. My father told me to go to college and go to law school, but since he could only afford to send one of the four of us to college, he decided that he wouldn't pay for any of us to go or contribute anything. We would all have to do it on our own. And that was my college guidance conversation. And we did, between the four of us, my brother and two sisters, all products of this school district. We have earned 9 college degrees. So I worked and borrowed my way through 3 colleges in 3 different states, earning 3 degrees over a 9-year period. After college, I spent 7 years in the tax and business consulting departments of 2 of the world's largest accounting firms, another 7 years in large law firms working in mergers and acquisitions, transactional corporate law, and tax law. I've spent the last 14 years working for Maxim Crane Works, the nation's largest crane rental and turnkey lift services company, approaching $1 billion in annual revenue. I'm the chief legal officer and chief tax officer. I have been married for over 25 years, and my wife and I have 5 children, 3 in college, 2 in high school, soon to be 4 in college. So, you may all be thinking, this is all compelling information, Don, but what does any of this have to do with this Distinguished Alumni Award? So, as I mentioned earlier, when I received notification of this award, I sat back and thought, how did this happen? I had never really took the time to reflect on the past 5 decades. With all of the forks in the road that I have encountered over the years, which paths did I choose, and at the end of the day, which, if any of these choices ultimately mattered? How did some messy-haired kid, yes, I had hair, usually messy-haired, usually dirty kid from Short Street, literally a dead-end street, in a working-class Ross Township neighborhood, the son of a union sheet metal construction worker, get here today being recognized as a distinguished alumnus? Well, here's an attempt at some answers the best I can figure. First, make no mistake about it, I'm a proud product of this school district. In many ways, not just academically, I was raised by this district. And I haven't forgot it. Secondly, this is still a great country. Is it perfect? No, but it is great nonetheless. Every day, most of what is being reported in the media is negative or sensationalized. This gets ratings. Ratings means increased revenues for media companies. But the dark and or ridiculous side of humanity is not the norm. My day doesn't make the news. Getting up at 5 a.m., getting home at 7 p.m., doing my job, being a husband, being a parent, being a member of the community, showing up here to rant about tax law in Mr. Polano's finance class, being a fast-pitch softball coach, a hockey coach, cutting the grass, walking my dog, paying the bills, paying my taxes. This doesn't make the news. Thomas Jefferson was a visionary in many ways, and while he was also not perfect by any means, he really nailed it, in my opinion, several hundred years ago when he wrote, "The person who reads nothing at all is better educated than the person who reads nothing but newspapers." I digress, but this is still a great country with amazing opportunities. Continuing, my mother is normal, and I mean this as the highest compliment. My father is out of his mind. I mean this as the highest compliment. I was exposed to many interesting things at a very young age outside of popular culture. I was taught to have an acute awareness and appreciation of my surroundings, both indoors and outdoors. I rarely saw my father sit down. I work hard. I started working when I was 11, and I haven't looked back since. I am 56. If I wanted something, I didn't ask for it, I worked for it. I strive to perform any task to the best of my ability every single time. I don't take shortcuts, just ask my wife, it drives her crazy. I am rarely the most intelligent person in any room, including this room, but I am usually the most prepared. I have always been on a mission to make those who have given me an opportunity look brilliant for giving me a chance. I have always had an insatiable thirst for knowledge. I try to give back to the community. I have always tried to be prepared for being lucky. I am not afraid to fail, and when I fail, I get back up more determined than ever. I never listened to any negativity. I heard it, but I did not listen. If someone told me I couldn't do something or doubted me, and there were plenty of those human beings, this made me more determined. I share my knowledge and experiences as often as possible to develop the people around me. I was lucky enough to meet my wife, Kim, and trick her into marrying me over 25 years ago. This award belongs to her as well because, despite her being a Montour graduate, because she has to put up with me each and every day. This is a full-time job, the pay is very little, and the fringe benefit package is horrible. Well, so enough about babbling about me. What about the students here? What about you? What advice can I give you students out there? And here we go. I'm going to go through this list quickly. Please be skeptical. Do the research. Have your own thoughts. Read anything, including newspapers. Be passionate about something. Be involved in your community. Never stop the learning process. Be prepared for being lucky. Don't feel entitled. Go earn it. Become an expert in anything. Take care of your body. It houses your mind. Exercise your mind and your body. Every once in a while, stop staring at the electronic handheld oracle. Turn it off. Go outside. Get in the woods. Get on the grass. Get dirty. Don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. For every problem you identify, have a few proposed solutions. Be tolerant of other human beings. Respect different opinions. Don't lose a friend or lose an opportunity to make a friend over politics, philosophy, or religion. Thank your parents, your family, and your teachers. Be relentless. Go home tired every day. Don't you dare forget where you came from, where you come from. You are the aggregate of your experiences. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. Please have a sense of humor. Be able to laugh. If we can't laugh at ourselves, we are doomed. Network, and after that, network. I have been working for 45 years. I have a 5-page resume. How many jobs have I had off of that resume? Answer, 0 jobs from that resume. I've gotten my opportunities through networking, people I knew. All right, I'm going to conclude finally, I'm sorry. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to read now, believe it or not, a popular poem that is about 102 years old, and I believe it is well suited for this occasion. The poem has been quoted, misquoted, interpreted, misinterpreted probably thousands of times. It has its own meaning for me, and I'm fairly certain that my interpretation was not necessarily intended by the author, the legendary literary trickster, Mr. Robert Frost. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though, as for that, the passing there had really worn them about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Be prepared for the luck, North Hill students, and thank you, North Hill School District. Sweet.
Thank you, Mr. Goebel.